I'm in a car which is turned 50. Not 50-year-old, 50 young. Presenting a special episode on the legacy of Range Rover, which is just turned 50 on 17th of June. Welcome to FlyWheel. Range Rover, the king of luxury SUV, is in the golden glory of its 50th birthday. It was 5 decades before, on 17th of June 1970, Range Rover first rolled out. Hence, June 17 is considered as Range Rover Day. Range Rover was conceived as the luxury arm of the legendary off-roader Land Rover, as a result of the thought to have a larger, luxurious go-anywhere vehicle over Series 1 Land Rover. Then owners of Land Rover, the Rover, started the project called Rover based on its P4 model. But later, in 1966, Spenkin and Despot came out with the Range Rover concept. And in 1967, the first prototype with the registration number SYE157F was made, with a different headlight and radiator grille. But in 1969, the design was finalized and started making the working prototype, which was called Velar. 26 of such models were made and 2 of them put on road for testing. And to your knowledge, both these models still exist. Roger Catherine, known as Heads of Wheels, was part of this first Range Rover project. He is one man who is the most expert in Range Rover. One of the fathers of Range Rover, Roger Catherine, also known as Heads of Wheels, who is in mid-70s, is one person whom I had a conversation over the phone regarding the Range Rover history. He still is a consulting engineer for Land Rover, even with the latest Land Rover Defender project. Over the conversation, I was able to learn a lot more about the Range Rover. The Range Rover was designed as a luxury go-anywhere vehicle targeting the US market. Hence, it was initially developed as a 3-door and this was called Saloon. And Saloon in Britain was sedan. It was named so because Range Rover was made in the philosophy of a sedan, of a vehicle which can go anywhere with the comfort of a large sedan. Once it was launched in 1970, it was initially aimed for US and Europe market. But soon it got popularized around the world, especially in Middle East and Australia. At the same time, a coach builder in Switzerland started making the 5-door version, which again had its own space in the market. Celebrities, countrymen and sportsmen around the world were the main owners of Range Rover. And the first generation, which started its life in 1970, exists till 1996. Periodically, they had upgraded the car. Major upgradation was done in 1985 by introducing the 5-door version. And I personally was connected with the Range Rover with the same 1985 5-door model. I had one which was bought from an embassy in India, and it was my companion between 2005 and 7. And in 1996, the second generation Range Rover was launched. By then, the Land Rover was under BMW and they used a lot of technology and features from the BMW models. It was again a success story. And in 2002, the third generation L322 rolled out. By then, Land Rover was under Ford. But when Tata acquired Land Rover, the fortune of Range Rover became more glorious. The fourth generation, which is existence in now, the L405 variant, was rolled out in 2012 in Paris Motor Show. I personally had the chance to witness a great launch function at the Paris Motor Show. Now there may be more expensive SUVs in the market, but still Range Rover reign in its position as king of luxury SUV. Now the Range Rover comes with different variants like the Vogue SV Autobiography and the top-end model SV Autobiography long wheelbase. And the Land Rover was smart enough that they encased the Range Rover brand with its siblings. In 2005, they rolled out the first Range Rover Sport and subsequently the Evoque, and in 2019, the most stylish Velar. Now when they are celebrating its golden jubilee, they introduced a special variant which is called Range Rover 50. To mark the birth year 1970, to mark the year of Range Rover birth, this special edition Range Rover 50 model will be limited to 1970 units only. It will be customized by the special vehicle operation wing and it will be offered in unique 3 different colors as part of its 50th year. The journey of Range Rover still continue with more glory. And we are bringing a special episode on this 50th year of. So this was the golden era of Range Rover. Really gold, isn't it? Now let's experience the real one. Fascia of the Range Rover has actually evolved from first generation to what it is now. This is a pre-facelifted one, so you can see the pre-facelifted design as a curvy daytime running light. It's a bison light, but now we have the sharp-edged daytime running light and LED light. But rest everything is been retained all the way. The mesh grille was introduced now. Earlier it was a vertical slack. Earlier it was a round headlight, and the bumper and the other treatment look much updated. And some elements from the first Range Rover has been retained. Something like this hump, which is a part of Range Rover design identity to give the proper shoulder feel. So those things have been retained, but again it has been evolved from what it was then to this modern face. So one thing which has kept in Range Rover without change is the side profile and the silhouette. It has got the same design pattern from the first generation, the straight line, the slopey roof, the smoked out greenhouse, and this long body line has been retained from the first generation. So basically if you want to recognize a Range Rover, you just have to look on the side profile. But there are few elements like this fins and the sculptings and all this sharp lines, and the body has been actually carved in a way that it can be carved, the most sharpest edge to be carved for a aluminum body. So this is one thing which is show the legacy of Range Rover. You have to look at the side profile. You will understand what it has followed from the first generation. Like in the fascia, rear also has been evolved from what it was earlier, but they retained the shape and some elements like the slopey rear window, the spoiler which is a bold one, the split open boot which is an attractive element, like you can split open it in two ways, one to top and other one to bottom, both electrically. So this is meant for expedition and picnics where you can sit over here. It can carry a weight of up to 200 kilo, and if there is a big catch you can keep it over here and take it away from the hunting place. So with one touch of a button you can close both. But some evolution you can see, like the tail light has been always evolved and now it's a LED one. Bumper has been reworked, but the departure angle again is one key element because of this off-roading capability. But basically the Range Rover boxy shape has been retained, the Range Rover logo has been retained. So everything has been kept in a way that it keeps its identity, but it has modernized and evolved for the latest market and for the younger hearts. the most luxurious SUVs money can buy, and this one is the long wheelbase. There's one more option which is more plushy and luxurious, the autobiography. But again, to know Range Rover, this is quite enough. What we are driving now is a V6 powered one, 3-liter V6 with an output of 336 HP and 450 Nm of torque, mated to an 8-speed ZF gearbox. Amazing powertrain, and there are more powertrain options available. But this is one ultimate powertrain which is good for India. And what I am bringing is the legacy and some of the DNA which has been carried from the last 50 years in Range Rover. One is definitely the way Range Rover characterized as one of the most luxurious SUV and one of the most comfortable SUVs. That's what the DNA was from the origin, to feel like a luxury sedan on a four-wheel drive vehicle. And at the same time, it retained the proper DNA of a Land Rover, which is go anywhere, above and beyond. So Range Rover's got this latest terrain control system which actually detect the off-road, actually detect the power on all the four wheels during the off-road condition, and can set on different terrain modes like this: land, mud, rock, desert, and even snow, so that the powertrain and the tires play accordingly so that it can perform effortlessly on an off-road. To add on to that, the suspension can also be raised, and the approach and departure angle make it more convenient on any kind of terrain in a very luxurious manner. It's like you're going out in mud in a tuxedo. So this long wheelbase is very rare on SUV segment. Normally we have longer wheelbase, but we don't have a normal variant and a long wheelbase in SUV segments. But Range Rover has one, and that shows the real size of a rear compartment. It's huge. There is a lot of space. Whatever the additional length has gone into the wheelbase is reflected on the rear end, and it's very plushy. The seats are very comfortable. There's a blind over here. There is a screen which can see the infotainment or multimedia where you can enjoy your video, and you have a panoramic roof, separate AC system. And if you're in autobiography, you'll get a separate captain seat and a refrigerator over here, and you can even customize it to N level, and it is one of the ultimate luxury rear end in any SUVs. And I can say you, to add on to that, the suspension plays a big role. The air suspension is a floating suspension. It can be raised and can be adjusted according to your driving conditions. But again, if you're sitting over here, it can be adjusted in a way that you get a proper sedan-like feel on your four-wheel drive. And that's what actually Range Rover is meant to be when it was developing a luxury sedan-like comfortable vehicle which can go anywhere. That was the proper DNA which actually made the Range Rover. The legacy of Range Rover still continues, and we look forward for more new Range Rovers which can go anywhere and beyond in the most luxurious way.